Yeah,
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm here with my friend Ollie. Anything you want to say?
nothing. Let's just
Beautiful.
dive straight into it.
Dive straight into it. We're going to be
Yeah.
watching 3 real Tinder basically, or date night horror stories. Let's get into it. Let me know if you hear it. Is it playing?
No. Oh yeah.
It is. Beautiful.
Day no more stories. Next step soon, light off.
That's right. Do mine.
My older sister Jen is 5 years older than me, and this story also happened 5 years ago.
Light
Before
off too.
Jen was dating her current boyfriend, she used Tinder to meet a few guys. I remember the night specifically. She told me and our other sister Maria that she was meeting a guy at a bar a few blocks down.
Baddies.
When she got there, she sat at the bar and texted the guy to let him know where she was
Baddies,
sitting.
that's like some Irish bar.
Under a minute passes and a man sits next to her, offering to buy her a
baddies.
drink.
Baddie.
This man is significantly older than my sister, and according to her, gave off a horrible smell, had bad breath, and had a crooked front tooth. She told him no thank you right away, as she had a guy coming to meet her.
What?
The man didn't get up just yet. He kept sitting
Fine
there,
whiskey.
said he'd buy
Fine
her a
whiskey.
drink in the meantime before her date got there. Jan felt very uncomfortable and asked the man to please leave her alone. The man got up from the bar stool. Jan told us she did a side glance to see where the man had gone, and she said he sat at one of the nearby table booths. Jan texted her date about what just happened and asked him to please hurry. There wasn't a response, so she sits there a few minutes, texts again, "Where are you?" This time the guy responds, "Running late, get a drink or two without me." Now, this was an odd text for a guy to send to a girl he's meeting. And to make it even worse, the man from before came back to sit next to Jan, asking where her date was and acting all upset that she
I
was
think
still
that's
alone.
him. With the fake account.
My sister
Watch.
responded to the man once or
Oh,
twice,
yeah.
then had enough and asked him to please leave her alone once again. She texted her date one more time, saying, "Sorry, I'm gonna leave." And as she sent it, the man's phone, which he left on the bar, vibrated. My sister immediately put two and two together and said she's going to the bathroom. I remember she called our sister Maria asking what to do. Maria told her just leave and drive home. I listened in on the conversation.
It's cooked.
When Jan left the bathroom, the man was no longer anywhere to be seen in the bar, which I'm sure she found to be a relief. She went straight to her car and started driving home. It's a very linear and short path from that bar, and she was home in probably a couple minutes.
So she
When
drank
she
and
pulled
drive.
up in the driveway and started walking to the front door,
Drink and
she
drive.
noticed another car pull up across
Yeah,
the
this
street.
woman
It didn't stop
seems
directly in
kind
front of the house across the street. It
That's
stopped
smart
one
woman,
house
right?
over.
Is that what you said?
Jan
Yeah.
came inside, and
Trying
from
to
here
phrase
on,
it as
I
nicely
can
as
tell the
possible.
story from my own point of view.
Sure.
Maria and I came to greet Jan and ask her what happened. She went to the window and creased the blinds to look outside. She told us there was a car out
Crease the
there
blinds?
before, and she was worried
Yeah,
and
like,
followed
push
her.
it down.
But when all
Yeah,
three of
I
us looked through the blinds, we didn't see a car out there. So she told us the unsettling story of what happened at the bar. Maria did a better job at comforting her than I. Girl thing, I guess. I
Is
did
yours
tell
not
her
just
that
a
if
picture
that
of a
man
car,
ever
though?
stepped foot near her
Is
again,
it?
I'd kick his ass.
Picture
Later
of
on,
this
we all went to our rooms and did our own
Nah,
thing.
is your video just
I was
on a
playing
picture of
Far
his
Cry
car?
4 on my
This
computer,
is how it is.
and I heard the horrible sound
Yeah,
of
this is
both
the
my
voice over
sisters
it.
screaming. Now let me shift back to Jan's perspective for a second. She was on her phone in bed when she got a text from that number. It said, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't see your text until I got to the bar." Jan didn't answer that, so he sent a
Fake ass
follow-up
messages.
text saying, "I'm gonna meet you at your house. Which window is yours?"
Fuck.
Jan called Maria to come to her room to look at the text. As they talked for a little bit, figuring out what to do, Jan's window slid open and someone tried pushing their way through the roller shade. That was when both Maria and Jan screamed, causing not only me, but our
Notice we don't
parents
have
from
windows like
upstairs
that.
to come rushing to her room.
Nice.
They just open
The
up.
man trying to come in gave up before we even made it to the room. Our dad went outside to try and chase after the man, but he was already long gone in his car probably. Of course, my dad called the cops to get a police report.
Cooked, right?
Jan gave the police the man's cell phone number, and they took records of the text conversation. They said they were going to do what they could to trace the number, though it could take a few days. My dad was contacted after the weekend by the local police station, and they asked him to come in. At
LAPD.
the station, they said they traced the number to be a fake number through some app, and that there was no guarantee they could trace the use back to a specific phone. My dad asked them to do whatever they could. Weeks passed and we never heard from the police, but we all slowly started to forget about it. You can never really understand people's motives and how they think they'll get away with some
Put my camera
things.
here. That's how
Like
you
climbing into a girl's window, for instance.
Yeah, I just have it on the second monitor.
Great, an ad.
It's cool, it's cool.
Yeah,
I'm not even
there's-
monetized. I'm not even monetized. You skipping it?
I can't.
No, I'm just
Is
watching
it video
TV.
playing?
No, I'm just getting an ad.
I have another one. I can skip it.
Skip it, please.
Get condi-
How many seconds you
It's
at?
playing? 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy.
I've been using the app Hinge to meet new people in the town I just recently moved to.
As soon as I
Actually,
heard
this
that,
girl, Kate.
use it.
She was about 7 years older than me. Yeah, I know, a bit of a gap. She's 30, I'm 23. It was my idea to meet her at some small restaurant in town. I waited in my car in the parking lot for her to pull up. For some reason, she was having trouble finding the place, and she asked me to start sharing my location with her. After doing so, she shortly after pulled up in
Sharing
some
their
lemon
location
of a
with the
car,
person
an
on
old
Tinder,
beater
you're just
Honda.
asking about. That's cool.
I actually felt a sense of disappointment when I saw it was
excuse
her stepping out of it. I went out to hug her hello. She said she wasn't a hugger though, so I shamefully put my arms back down. Bad start, I was thinking in my head. When we sat down at a table inside, I was able to see that she looked different from her pictures. Worse. Like, she was the girl in the pictures, sure, but it seemed as though she had her pictures doctored up to make her look better. She also looked to be older than 30.
Wow.
I was already not feeling this date. But I couldn't just end it now.
No,
I'd
I'm
have to
telling
sit
you, I
through
think
the
this is
dinner
too
with
long to
her.
watch.
When the waitress came to start us off with drinks, Kate was really awkward. Like the way
It's a
her
dude,
voice
bro, it's a
suddenly
dude.
raised in volume and intensity as she spoke to the
I think this
waitress.
is what I told you about.
She stuttered as she kind of rudely said she just wanted water. She turned down my offer for wine.
Imagine that happened to you, a hobby.
So I went through the whole dinner with her.
I'll just-
And in my head, I was really just thinking
I'll
about
confront
how
them.
excited I was to get out of there. The check came, and I waited to see if she'd make any offer to chip in for it since I really had no plans of seeing her again. But she did not. So I paid the check, and we grabbed our coats and left.
How would
I
you
told her I had a
know?
really nice time and whatever. Seemed
I
she
thought
didn't
you
really
were
want to go
just-
home though.
It's too
I
plotted.
had to kind of force myself to
Same
break off because I
that?
really just wanted to go home. I said
Huh?
bye and got in my car.
What
She
is
didn't say bye back. She instead just walked to her car.
To say anything.
I drove home to my apartment, which is the lower half of someone's house.
that? To
I didn't even finish hanging up my coat before the doorbell rang. I checked through the window who it could be, and it was Kate. I hadn't stopped sharing my location with her. What could she want? I hadn't forgotten anything at the restaurant, and even if I had, she could have texted me. It was then that I realized this woman might actually be nuts. I walked away from the door and hid in the kitchen with the lights off. I got a text from Kate saying,
that a mouse?
I know you're home.
Oh, it's like white dots.
I replied, what do
It
you
was like a
want?
mouse
Why are you
pointing to the
here?
screen.
She texted back, answer. I didn't answer that time. I stayed in the kitchen and waited there for a while, until she texted again, saying, I see you at the table, let me in now.
Let me guess, breaks the window,
She
right?
knew I was sitting there. She could see me. In a panic, I looked at all the windows, till I saw the one. It was one of the backyard windows, where I hadn't lowered the shade all the way down. And through that little opening at the bottom, I saw her eyes creeping in. Freaking out, I went to my room and stayed in there with the lights off, while I called 911 to report a trespassing. I had the call on speakerphone so I could read the insane text Kate was sending me. One of her texts said, nobody wants me, I'm sick of it. Another said, you're just like the others. Then I heard the sound of glass being broken outside my room. I ran to lock my bedroom door
Nobody
and told
wants
the operator that she was breaking into my house.
It's just
The
like
woman on the line said to wait in my room and grab something to use as a weapon. She said the cops would be there shortly. Kate tried the doorknob to my room, and when it wouldn't open, started pounding angrily, yelling for me to open up. I told the 911 operator to send the cops in through the back, as that was how she broke in. Luckily, this town seems to have a fast 911 response time, because cops were there in minutes. 3 cop cars, actually. I heard the cops talking with her, telling her to
That's
calm
crazy.
down. That was when I opened the door to see 4 cops around her, with her being already in cuffs. She was taken
Is that
away
an
and
alarm
charged
in the
with
video?
breaking and entering and some other charges.
No.
I had the option to take her to civil court for damages to my property, but the time and lawyer fees would be more than the cost to just fix the window, so that's what I did. I did get a restraining order against Kate though, who I later learned her real name was actually Pamela Castillo.
Yeah, I got an ad. Anyway, we just leaked the name. If you go
Yeah,
to
so-
criminals online, if you go to criminal people.
Oh, you can search it?
Yeah.
Remember last time he just leaked the Snapchat?
What do you
Oh,
mean
but
by
the
Oh,
account
yeah.
got deleted. Yeah, the account got
that?
deleted.
Link the Snapchat, so I could just go to criminals because there's a website for that and see every criminal with felonies.
Yeah.
And I could just search her
It was
up.
my first date with a girl from an online dating website. I offered to have her
Nice.
over and cook for her. I'd been out of the dating scene for a long time since I recently broke up with my girlfriend at the time. The woman's name was Amelia. She was 26. I was 32 at the time. I didn't really think having her over for dinner before meeting her was weird. If anything, it would be more relaxed and comfortable than meeting at some bar or restaurant. I was cooking some penne alla vodka with garlic bread and wine, my favorite combo. Amelia arrived around 6:30. I welcomed her in and asked her to take a seat at one end of the kitchen table. I was finishing up the food as I tried to get to know her. She wasn't as talkative as I was expecting based on her appearance. I had to lead most of the conversation. I was slightly nervous,
Let me get
given
this
that it was
straight.
my first
You don't
time
even
having a
know
first
them,
date in
And then
years,
you tell them your address.
and it didn't help that she wasn't exactly the easiest to talk to. I served her a plate of food and a glass of wine. Then she asked something odd. She wanted me to go get a candle so that we could have a proper cheers. I had nothing else to say but to go along with it. I left the kitchen to the pantry closet in the hallway to get one of the candles and a lighter. When I came back to the kitchen,
She was gone.
I spotted Amelia sitting back down, like very quick-like. It looked kind of sketchy. "Everything okay?" I asked. To which she replied she just had to rinse her hands. Odd, because I didn't hear the sink run. But I moved past it and lit the candle. Then we did a little cheers. I was about to take a sip of my wine when I
put
noticed
something in
something floating in the glass.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
Something that wasn't in it before. It looked like a powdery substance being dissolved into the wine. I watched as she looked at me, not taking a sip of my wine. I pretended to take a sip and nervously continued conversation. I was assuming the worst, that she tried to drug me. But I couldn't just accuse her of that. What if I was wrong? I'd look crazy. We ate our food and I cleaned up the table afterwards. She excused herself to the bathroom, which I pointed her to. She was gone for a while, but when she came back, she said she had to get going because her dog was sick. I had no problem with her leaving. I walked her out and hugged her goodbye. I went back to the glass of wine and smelt it, but it didn't smell like anything except wine. I dumped it and made sure nothing was stolen from the kitchen to the hallway to the bathroom.
If I put my mouse
After cleaning, I watched
around the
TV
video,
while telling my friends
see
that
a
I
box?
think she tried to drug me. Then I went to sleep.
No?
Actually, I didn't sleep. I have acute insomnia, which comes on and off. And this was one night I just couldn't get shut-eye.
Let me guess, you're gonna see her in the room,
I
right?
rolled from one side of the bed to the other for
Watch,
hours.
Watch.
And it must have been like 2:30 or something when I heard a cup fall from my kitchen. That terrified me because, well, cups are pretty stationary objects. I didn't see why or how one could have fallen from the counter.
Good choice.
Suddenly my door opened and someone stepped inside.
Watch, it's the girl, bro. Yeah.
I didn't move. I pretended to be asleep, but with one eye half open. Someone stood in front of the doorway for a few seconds, then left the room. I waited a minute before getting up to follow and hopefully get the kitchen phone to call the police. There was a glimmer of
Damn,
light
that's
in the
got a
living
nice
room
house,
from the
bro.
street light outside. With
That's
that,
true.
I was able to see her body in the corner of the room. She wasn't ducking, nothing.
No
She
reaction.
was just idly
Yeah,
staying in
loud.
place. "Amelia," I said, afraid of what would happen next. She was standing by the knife holder.
Knife.
"Amelia, if you leave right now, I won't call the cops." There was this awful, chilling silence before she put something back on the counter, walked to the back door, and exited. What she put back on the counter turned out to be a knife. When she left, I locked the door first thing, of course. I think when she asked to use the bathroom, she unlocked the back door with plans of returning. This was after her plan to drug me failed. Of course, I called the police, and they took the knife for fingerprints. Based off her criminal background, police later showed up to Amelia's house and arrested her. I did not press charges.
It's crazy.
Cool, bro. You'll never catch me using a dating app. That's
It's
fucked.
crazy. I just want to
That's
say one
messed
more
up.
thing. I don't know why they're so willingly,
Just dropping the address, man.
yeah, like acting like they know them. Like, oh, first date, come to my house or come meet my family. Come on, bro. And second of all, when he said she was in the room with him, and she was just staring at him, and he had no idea what to do. First of all, if that happens, and I know it's like someone, like I'm gonna tackle them, bro. Like,
Yeah, true, true.
huh?
Yeah, as soon as something seems off, that's all you need, right?
Yeah, just tackle them or just like ask them a question. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty dumb, but that was the whole video. Anything else you want to say?
Oh, it's pretty decent. That's last story was exhilarating.
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 It's a new word.
You were-
Yeah, if you leave the activity, we were gonna be side by side the cameras, but no need
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
let me do that. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Like, subscribe.
Comment down below.
Comment which one was the scariest one.
Yeah, I think it was story number 3.
Number 3, right? What was the first one? It's just a random guy.
That was the pub. That was the pub one.
The guy that was the guy.
Oh wait, no, that was the second one. That was the second one.
No, that was the first one.
I don't know. All I know is the last one.
It goes like this. The first one, no. The third one was the scariest. The third one. The second scariest was the first one, and the third one was last. What was the second one?
Can't
Nah,
remember.
that's crazy. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.